we're making sure that we're doing it right by focusing on the end users and the merchant developers and what they need. And we are conforming our systems and our ecosystem to those needs. Rather than giving technology solutions that may or may not be used, we're giving technology solutions that we are confident and very sure will be used.
Welcome guys, we are here at the Anarchapulco conference in Acapulco, Mexico, and as my German audience know, I'm a big fan of Dash. So last year I interviewed the lovely Amanda B. Johnson, the Dash girl, and she's not here at the conference, but I got I got Chuck Williams here. He's not as lovely as Amanda, but he's a nice guy as well, and he's part of the core team of Dash. And Chuck, can you please tell my audience how you got hired by a decentralized autonomous organization, by the DAO of Dash?
Right. Well, it's interesting that you bring up Amanda B. Johnson because it was her video as she was employed by the Dash DAO. She started working for Dash from June through July or December of 2016. And she announced in December of 2016 that Dash was hiring UI developers. And so immediately when I saw that video, I paused it and reached out to Andy Freer, who was the contact. By that January of 2017, I was working with Dash.
Okay, great. So in 2017, we saw so many proposals, so many new projects. Can you give a brief overlook or overview of what we've seen, how Dash developed in 2017 or until now?
Wow. So there's been so many proposals, everything from Kuvacash to bring Dash to Zimbabwe, to the Ben Swan proposal that recently passed, to all kinds of outreach projects and development projects, Alt36, which is a point-of-sale system. What I've seen in Dash is the self-funding mechanism and the governance system with the Masternode network has enabled so many different kinds of projects that it's really exciting to just be a part of it. We have an aerosports team, we have a STEM program, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, happening with college students teaching high school students how to use blockchain technologies, and then the high school students will go on and teach elementary students how to use cryptocurrencies. And there's just been so much flourishing and blossoming of the Dash network and community. So it's been really exciting to watch, and I think 2018 is going to be even better.
Okay, so how does the adaption is going on? Like you said, there like this 360 project, like you talked about it?
Yeah, each month there's somewhere in the range of 30 to 50 proposals that are submitted. And I would say probably 70 to 80% of those proposals actually pass. And of those, one of those proposals is the core team salaries, from which my salary gets paid. So that's basically what I've seen, and there's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of proposals over the past year. I just can't keep up.
But the adaption to create a new ecosystem, like you just said about, you just talked about this the 360, it's like 360 degrees project, or it's like a...
Alt36.
Alt36, oh
yes,
yeah, that's it, yeah.
So Alt36 is one of the projects that I think is pretty exciting. It's a complete point of sale system. And if you're not familiar with point of sale systems, it's basically what the retail industry uses to check out customers at the register. It is the register, but usually it's more than just the register. It's an entire system that many businesses use for their taxes, for their accounting, and to execute the sales and keep track of their products and inventories and things like that. Alt36 is building a comprehensive solution that will do very many of those things, including cryptocurrency taxes and inventory and accepting cryptocurrency in addition to traditional fiat currencies.
So is it already running, this system?
It's under development, and I think they're in beta testing right now at a couple of locations. Their first industry is the cannabis industry, the American cannabis industry, because most cannabis retail outlets do not have access to banking. And so this would be a way for them for us to help solve the banking problem for the cannabis industry. And once that's done, then we'll go out to many other types of retail industries.
I think, yeah, maybe you German guys, my German audience, maybe you haven't heard about it. In the US, there are some states who legalized cannabis. And I think that's a really good idea to let people pay their cannabis orders with Dash. So are there many companies who are looking forward to implement Dash as a payment system?
Absolutely. We have a partnership project that was launched or announced last month with an organization called Patientory, which is all about patient privacy and managing patient information in the health system. There's a project with the National Research Energy Laboratory, which is a government-funded scientific institution that helps the energy industry of America, and we're helping them to finalize payments for electricity bills on the blockchain. And there are many other projects in various other industries. Medical Genomics is a cannabis genomic sequencing company, and they hash the results of their genetic sequencing to the Dash blockchain now, so that there's a public record of certain cannabis strains, and they're planning to create a marketplace on top of these gene sequenced, hashed cannabis strains. So there's lots of different industries. And I know that there's many different industries that are approaching Dash because Bitcoin just became too expensive, and now Dash has become a very viable option for them.
Do you think it will shift again back to Bitcoin? Because I thought today Bitcoin, the transaction fees, they are now, I think, something like $15 something like this.
That may be true, and if that's the case, that's great, because then there will be competition and reasons for us to compete. Right now, we have very cheap transactions. You can get transactions for less than a penny right now, but we also have the instant send capability, and even with Lightning Network, it's going to be a while before they still have a retail-ready fast payment system.
Let's talk about Dash Evolution. Last year, as I met Amanda, she said, yeah, Dash Evolution, it will come out in a few months, and now it's still not ready. So when will it come out, and what will it bring? Right,
so there is a video out there where I explained what happened. Actually, I sat with Amanda last month and explained basically what happened. And what happened was we were intending to use Copay, the Copay wallet, as our initial Evolution wallet, and we basically decided we want to do it right, and by doing it right, we want to release a comprehensive platform that's not just a wallet. We want to enable the developers of the world who may not have blockchain development skills, to use the blockchain as easily as they would, for instance, a Stripe payment system. So we shifted what we're focusing on to build a more comprehensive foundational platform that the merchant developers of the world will be able to take up, rather than just a wallet that was pay by name. Because solving the problems of paying by name meant that we had to do a lot more than I think was anticipated. And along with that, we'll get these major new technologies of the decentralized API that we call the DAPI, and Dash Drive, which will allow you to store information on an IPFS or a distributed database on the masternodes.
And of course, many people, they say, oh, now to run a masternode on Dash, it's quite expensive. Like, I think Dash is now at $700. And so to run a masternode, you need 1,000 Dash. So it's 700,000 US dollars. I think with Evolution, you will come up with a solution where you can stake them, or where you're not staking, where you can have like a shared masternode.
That's right. So there are currently a couple of services that offer masternode shares. I think they have a minimum of either 50 or 20 Dash to buy in, and then you can collect your share of the earnings there. But what we're going to do is we're going to move a lot of that functionality on chain. And I don't think we're going to do it with the version 1 release of Evolution, but we have some designs in place to enable masternode shares on chain.
Okay, so what else we can expect with Dash evolution?
So the simplest thing that you'll get is pay by name. You'll get your own blockchain space assigned to your username, and it'll be very easy to pay somebody, just like finding somebody on Twitter. With that, you'll also, again, as I mentioned, the DAPI, the Decentralized API, that will enable the merchant developers of the world to easily execute blockchain transactions on the Dash blockchain using whatever technology they would like to use, whether it's Ruby or Python or Node or any development platform that they would prefer to use. The DAPI will be a RESTful API that utilizes the entire masternode network. So every masternode will be an endpoint for this service, this utility money service in the cloud. And then again, the Dash drive is expected to enable merchants to store information that they need to secure on the Dash blockchain, and they can encrypt it with their private keys. So with those three things, we will be providing a full platform so that any merchant can set up a fully functional storefront that accepts Dash as cryptocurrency, and they won't have to worry about securing their sensitive data.
Okay, great. So when will you launch Dash Evolution?
That's always the question. And the interesting thing about software development is it's a process of discovery. And I think one of the things that a lot of people forget is that with Dash, we are working in uncertain space. Nobody is doing or has done what we are doing. We are solving problems that have never had to be solved before, so it's hard to predict exactly when. But we're making sure that we're doing it right by focusing on the end users and the merchant developers and what they need, and we are conforming our systems and our ecosystem to those needs. Rather than giving technology solutions that may or may not be used, we're giving technology solutions that we are confident and very sure will be used. So what we're planning on doing is sometime in mid to late summer, we will release prototypes for the merchant developers to download, test, and review and give us feedback. And we will be then moving into building out the ecosystem and delivering the Evolution wallet as a demonstrative tool that demonstrates how to use the DAPI with documentation, how to use Dash Drive, for instance, to store contact information, and how to use the DAPI SDK to construct transactions within your own application. So I imagine in the future, we will be able to work with somebody like, say, Netflix, and say, look, you can have cryptocurrency as a payment option for your organization.
Okay, great. So another question is, Dash, now it went down in the coin market cap. I think it's ranked number 12. Do you think it's a disadvantage for Dash being going down all the time?
I think certainly in terms of perception, that's a lot of that is something that a lot of people pay attention to. But for me, I personally would prefer not to be in the top 10 right now because we have a lot of work to do. And when we come back to the top 10, I think it will be for good reason. Okay.
So, yeah, where do you see the price of Dash at the end of 2018?
My prediction, it's very much dependent on Bitcoin, but in terms of Bitcoin, right now we're sitting around 0.07. I'm thinking that we may get as high as 0.2 by the end of the year, and that would mean if if Bitcoin gets to, let's say, 50,000 by the end of the year, then Dash would be worth 10,000. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'm hoping for as well. Thank you very much.